Hey, welcome to Men On Scandal. Not really, sorta, kinda. I'm Tony Scott. That's Mark Clark. That's Troy Johnson. And Scandal's off for the summer, but we move on with Men On. But we do have Scandal news though. Kerry Washington, she had that baby like 8 years
Right.
ago, and we just found out like maybe what 3-4 weeks ago.
Man, I'm telling you, this is like a state secret.
She's good.
Yeah.
She's good at keeping secrets.
She's really getting her Olivia Pope on. No, nobody knows anything about this child. Now, I heard that it actually has something to do with Nnamdi Asomugha and the fact that
Gesundheit. Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know which African tribal custom he subscribes to in his family, but apparently, his name wasn't on the birth certificate for a considerable amount of time because it's out of tradition. And then they have to have a ceremony or something like that. Then the naming happens. So it's something along those lines. So
did he have to get lion?
Did he have to what?
Get circumcised and kill a lion? No?
I don't think that happened.
No, I don't think that's the. I don't think he's in that one, man. Hey, Scandal's going to move, man. They're going to move it an hour earlier. They announced that today, so it's going to be Grey's Anatomy at first in that 3-hour block, and then Scandal, and then Shonda Rhimes' new show that I believe Octavia's in, right? Is it Octavia?
Yeah.
Who's in it? Or is it
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis is in it. Something about murder. How to get away with murder.
I think she's a law professor who has some kind of scandalous backstory, in her past. Mm-hmm. Should be interesting.
Okay. Well, very good, very good. So that's the Scandal news as far as we know. Columbus Short is still, I think, I was going to say, not in the cast next season, but if you want to use fired, we'll go with that.
Fired, man. Come on, man.
And actually,
he's fired.
Troy and I have offered our services for brothers who lost sizable checks, how to cope. So call us, Columbus. We've been doing it for a minute.
We're around for you.
They're having shirts made, matching shirts. So everybody's talking about Donald Sterling, the owner of the LA Clippers. What is it about Magic Johnson that really gets to him? Because that woman, V. Stiviano, she's not even on Magic's level. She's not even one of the honeys that he would even. She's not.
I mean, they basically took a selfie at the Staples Center. That's and a whole brouhaha came out of that.
And something else people aren't talking about is she's a man, baby. But
wait a minute.
I don't think that's the case.
I'm joking. Well, and it doesn't matter. There's anything wrong with that.
No,
nothing wrong with that at all. So I watched Magic Johnson on Anderson Cooper, and Magic handled it beautifully. He said that he will always take up for his people. He's done a lot of things in the urban communities, in the inner cities that he doesn't even mention because he's not looking to do credit and you get credit for anything. Unlike, every time Donald Sterling does something or receives some kind of award, there's a press release and a camera around somewhere, So, but he doesn't understand. He said, when Donald Sterling said that Magic Johnson called him and says, "Don't say anything. I'm going to help you through this." Magic Johnson says, Donald Sterling called me and he wanted me to go on Barbara Walters with him. And I told him no. And he also told him, basically, you need to take this more serious and you need to apologize. Yeah. And he was like, I'll apologize later. He's got the AIDS. Magic Johnson has the AIDS.
He's got AIDS.
Watch it, you two. Okay? Watch it. Okay?
I'm just saying, that's crazy.
Like the African American community, the Jewish community is watching. Somebody's taking notes in Omaha. What did he say? What did he say?
And this is how successful Magic Johnson is. Magic Johnson says, I don't want to own the Clippers. I want to own the Lakers. It's like he has an opportunity to buy an NBA team. And he said, I don't want them. I want this one on me. I mean, come on. Really? He's got it like that?
He owns the Dodgers. The Dodgers
That was the other thing, though, Troy, that Donald Sterling says that I think he works for the Dodgers, and Magic Johnson made it clear at the end of that interview, I don't work for the Dodgers. I own the Dodgers.
Go ahead, Magic. Magic is going to own the Clippers. I'm telling you, when this whole thing went down, I'm going back to the very first comment that Magic Johnson said. He said, I will never step foot into another Clippers game as long as Donald Sterling is the owner. And I was like, bling. he's making his move right there. Now he's already broken his word because he went to the game. But Magic Johnson is going to own the LA Clippers. The Lakers are not for sale. They're not going to be for sale. The Buss family is going to own them for a long time. There it is right there. The NBA also really has to handle this situation. Now, it's going to be a long, protracted thing with Donald Sterling. But the bottom line is it's got to be fixed. And you know what? It's got to be fixed before people start really analyzing the fact that you only have really one minority owner in the NBA, and that's Michael Jordan. So, this could be the move.
I'm glad you...
Well, the guy from India, Middle Eastern India that owns the Kings, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up, Troy, because I always thought the Jerome Bettis family owned the Lakers. The Buss?
No, not that Buss, man. No.
I thought they owned the... Okay, my bad.
Man.
I had it wrong. My bad.
You terribly wrong.
Also, what's not being talked about is whatever class Magic took and being a better presenter, man, whatever class that is, we need to sign up our people in that class because Magic's come a long way.
Well, he has come a long way, but I think it's more about his experience, though. What years have taught him and what he's learned and stuff. I mean, he gutted a few, verbs and stuff, but when he said I'm gonna pray for the young man, I was like, okay, now who are we talking about now? Because Donald Sterling is 80.
But I'm just saying, Tony, the old Magic would have said, I have come a long way. I-H-A-B come a long way. The new Magic, I have come a long way. See, that's out of he's a new, maybe it comes with money. I don't know.
You got a lot of.
So Donald Sterling's wife Shelly says that she wants to keep her part of the Clippers, but then I read or I saw on television that the way the NBA constitution is that if they take a team from somebody, everybody got to go. Yes. If you own a 5% stake. Just so you can say, yo, here's my card that says I'm owner of the Lakers, and you own 5%. They'll say you're the managing partner. You got to go too. Everybody, they wipe the slate clean. Everybody got to go.
Only Clipper she's going to own are the one in her bathroom. That's it. That's it, man. That's it.
I'm writing that one down. I'm using that on the radio show. Let me write that one down.
The NBA enacted the old black people rule. If you got a little bit in you, you black. So
you got a little bit of the Clippers.
You out.
So everybody got to go.
That kind of seems unfair, but I guess there's logic to that, though. So
I mean, you're in one of the most exclusive clubs in the world. There are 32 members, and it's kind of like they don't have the official term, but it's like the NFL. They always say protect the shield. The shield is bigger than everybody. It's bigger than your favorite player. It's bigger than the best team in the league. And I think the NBA is looking at it the same way. You
protect the brand.
That's right.
Yeah. Above anything. Is Doc Rivers going to come back as the Clippers coach?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He will? Even if this is not resolved?
I think so.
Will this be resolved? Like, will the team be taken from him by the start of next season?
That's a good question. That may or may not happen. LeBron James is going to have to back up. I think he's backing off the comments that he made in private with someone from the Players Union talking about a walkout at the beginning of next season if this thing hasn't been adjudicated. They were trying to put pressure on the league to make something happen, but it might take too long for that to happen. Might take a while because Donald Sterling is going. This is it, man. This is his last fight. And he's getting arm up.
That's true. That's true. Over the weekend, the St. Louis Rams drafted Michael Sam, the first openly gay player to enter the NFL. And there was a story that came out of, I think, here in Missouri, where a guy wrote a letter and saying, he wrote it to the media or something, and he said that he wanted to thank Michael Sam because when Michael Sam was drafted, him and his son were watching, and his son broke down and cried and told his father, "I'm gay." And his father, says, if it was for Michael Sam giving my son the strength, he wouldn't have had the strength to come out. I love my son anyway. But it got me to thinking, Michael Sam's family has disowned him, haven't they? They pretty much kicked him to the curb is what I've been reading.
I heard there was something going on. I didn't get all the details, but there's something going on with his family. He was with his boyfriend's extended family and friends when he was watching the draft out in California. But
that could make sense of the. I think the thing that I was talking to a group of kids just Tuesday, and the thing that was interesting about the video was how emotional he was, and I think but that family piece could explain, in addition to the moment, that also, you know what I mean? Because if that in fact is true, Tony, that is despicable, and it's very sad that your family would not share that moment with you. It's just very, and so, but it could explain because he was very emotional and
he had a right to be. I mean, it wasn't so much, and it wasn't because he was gay, the first gay guy. It was because his dream was to be in the NFL. That was his dream. They asked him at a press conference here in St. Louis because they had all the rookies out at Rams Park in a press conference, and they asked him, how did you keep this whole thing a secret while you were at University of Missouri, Mizzou? And he says, I didn't keep it a secret. He goes, nobody cared.
He shared it with them. They agreed to not say anything.
But they didn't really care. He said nobody on campus. He goes, it wasn't a secret. Nobody cared. Nobody cared that I was gay. He says that's how that went. Now, I posted some stuff on my Facebook radio page, and people are judgmental. Social media has given courage to lots of people.
Yeah.
And people are saying that he's condemned. He's going to go to hell. He has no right to be in the NFL. And the thing is that the Bible says, but everybody always says the Bible says that homosexuality is an abomination. But more than that, the Bible says, and this is me talking, the Bible tells us to love one another, have compassion for one another, and put the sins of man on God. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. That's what his mouth says.
Yeah.
Why do most people miss that little nugget, man? That's what I want to know.
Same people when everybody's making it rain in the club. The Bible says don't make it rain in the club, don't it?
I don't know. I don't know, man. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. That was a hell of a party, boy.
Yeah.
Am I getting my analogies mixed up?
That was King of Diamonds' slogan last year.
And it made it rain for 40 days.
40 days and nights.
There's pictures on the caves.
Man. I don't know, man.
I mean,
not shackles. Shackles on my feet. I think, to me, if the guy can play football, then play football, man.
Well, obviously it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do outside of your life. You got NFL players who beat people's ass, kill people. Hey, but but he scored 3 touchdowns last Sunday. So it doesn't make any sense. The standard, even when they talk about, especially after we've seen the whole NFL draft, and they talk about character players and guys who are team captains of their college. That's what you want in terms of a person on your team. But at the same time, the same cat who could yoke somebody up on the field and yoke somebody up at the club, they don't mind that either.
Yeah.
It's going to put people in the seats, and if it's going to win championships.
I know a lot of people were upset because they showed the video of him kissing his boyfriend, right? It didn't bother me that they showed that. That's life. That's just the way we are in 2014. It's just part of who we are now. You don't have to accept it, but it's here.
Tony, it was round 7 of the draft. how many kisses did we see prior to that? Girlfriends and moms and everybody. I mean, come on.
But people will say that's not the same thing, and you know it. That's what people will say.
Exactly.
But the only problem I had with that video is they kept showing it over and over and over again to the point where it got to be like, okay, now you're just pimping it.
Well, my biggest concern was that boyfriend needs to get in the weight room, man. My two complaints were, and there was a point. It seemed like he didn't express his emotions as much as Michael did. And at one point, he just kind of pet his arm. It was like, what happened? Like, where's the? He was like, yeah, Oh Lord, I felt fear.
I think he was unsure of how the moment was going to play out. You know, I mean,
maybe parents either.
As Tony said, you know, we watched it 93,000 times.
That's true.
And it felt like, hey, this is Michael's moment. I'm the supportive, partner, and we'll see what happens. If they just if he gave him a hug or gave him some dap, he probably would have been okay with it, But obviously he gave him, his real emotions, and he obviously meant also, much more than that.
We have to give credit to Quincy Jackson, who was the first black gay man to say, "Oh, here we go. Every time a young, strong black gay man signs a contract, he gets himself a white man." He was the first guy to say it.
Is that the first one?
Jackson in Michigan.
Quincy Jackson of Michigan said that.
Every time a strong black man, they're like, okay, Quincy.
Now, Jeff Fisher, the head coach of the Rams, made it clear that he has no problem cutting Michael Sam, but Michael Sam can't make the team. If he's not good, he don't make the team.
That's the way it is.
He also made it clear that when he said that Michael had a motor on him, he wasn't saying anything inappropriate.
Let's be clear.
You got a good motor on you. I meant,
What? What happened? What? So, Beats by Dre, is it official yet that Apple has paid $3.2 billion?
Damn.
That's a lot of money, man. And now, everybody was saying it's going to make Dre's going to be the first billionaire rapper. Well, no, it's not, because, he's going to clear probably about $800 million is what I'm only being a relative word, right?
Well, but when you do the math with what he has already, that'll put him over $1 billion.
Yeah,
but it wasn't just because it wasn't just because of the Beats sale. But
why would Apple buy Beats by Dre? Is it because they want to put their Apple on that Beat logo, or do they have bigger plans? Are they going to shut down?
There's some room right here. They got plenty of room.
So is this a plan to merge the brands, or is this a plan to shut down the streaming service that Beats by Dre just started not long ago?
All of the above.
You think
it's all of the above? Be all of the above, or anything is possible, because I think Beats is an iconic brand, and people actually like this. It's like a lot of things in America. We like the styling of what these products are. I'm gonna tell you the truth. As an audiophile, they're not the best headphones I've ever had. They're
okay.
They're all right. I use them every day for work. I like them, but they're not the best headphones I've ever had.
What are the best ones you had, Troy?
Sony MDR V6s. I mean, they're lightweight. They feel good. They're not too heavy. These kind of are really tight on your head.
But those have a bigger bass response, though.
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that.
See, it's interesting, Troy. I think don't you think for the taste of people who like the sound that people want that Beats add another dimension. I think, like you said,
it's a look, but I think it's the look.
Really?
I mean,
the sound.
I know you guys have both had a pair of Sonys.
Yeah,
and they sound good. They're lightweight. They feel good on you. They don't get tired from wearing them, but they don't really look particularly fly if you're walking around with a pair on.
Right.
I feel like the bass response is better on the
the Beats. If I'm honest, Troy. I mean, we grew up with the Sonys, and I think you're kind of you really are a ear guy, but I think you also are listening. You like a versatile, the overall sound of something.
I want to be able to hear everything, and I mean headphones. I know we didn't want to turn it's men on. I didn't know it was going to be men on headphones, but I mean, headphones nowadays. I mean, you can get little earbuds that are $800.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's worth all that.
Yeah. I don't know if I would invest $800 in a pair of headphones if I had $3.2 billion.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, because it just doesn't make. I mean, some things just don't make sense. But I think you only get that with age. As you get older, you realize, this ain't worth that, man. I mean, it's nice looking, and it's probably off the hook, but I'm not paying that for that. Yeah. That comes with life experience, I think.
Let me ask you this, guys. I think so. Dre last year made that donation to USC. What was it, $7 million, something like that?
Mm-hmm. That was more than that.
He caught heat for that, for not giving money to HBCUs.
Right. Now,
yes.
And then also recently, they posted a video of the late Steve Jobs talking to Dre. Basically, Dre helped promote iTunes. Mm-hmm. So obviously, he had a real relationship with Steve Jobs back then. Yeah. And Steve Jobs enlisted him to help with iTunes. At that point, he didn't know if it was going to be as successful as it is. Of course, it became very successful. So then, Dre does this donation to USC, and there was backlash from the HBCU saying, why didn't he support us? And Troy, I'm going with this. The average person or the public, we kind of like follow the news story, but in reality, doesn't this kind of speak to Dre laying the foundation to make a huge deal like this by being in the circles of those people who make huge deals like this? You know what I mean? It's a bigger story than he threw his money at USC to help USC.
Yeah.
He threw his money at USC because he was partnering with a whole, he's a part of that super influential group of people,
He's
in the Illuminati, man. He's in the Illuminati,
man. Just the power brokers. Jimmy Iovine.
Okay.
He's taking a page out of Magic Johnson's book.
Exactly.
You create part, and you know what? And I know we're going to talk about Beyonce and Jay-Z and Solange coming up as well. But the thing that's interesting about, you're right, Mark, because these people interact like you and I and Tony. You have personal relationships. You have a bond. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. If it's I'm going to stop by my cousin's birthday party and play a couple of songs and be Dr. Dre for Steve Jobs' relative, that is the seed that pays off 5 or 6 or 7 years later. You start building those relationships. And, he's getting to the point now where it's blossoming, I mean, he had 25% of the Beats company, just 25%, with his name all over it. Everybody assumes, because we don't really do our homework, this is Dre's company. It's just like Jay-Z and the Brooklyn Nets. I'm the owner. He sings it on his songs. I own the team. I sit in the front row. He's got less than 5% of the team?
Well, he doesn't have it anymore at all now because he sold that because he wanted to be an agent, so he had to get rid of his ownership in that. So he doesn't even have.
But I mean, he was such a he had this much of the team.
Yeah,
he had the Oakland.
So now that Dr. Dre has all this money now, we're never going to see that Detox album now. That's just not going to happen now. He doesn't need to do it. I mean, what do you do?
Bigger than that. See, that's the funny part. He's bigger than that. See, that's the other part that I think, back to the Chris Rock joke that we now are seeing play itself out. So-and-so is rich. So-and-so is wealthy. Mm-hmm. The reality is, when you're a rapper, you are with the rest of the talent. You're with the rest of the monkeys, I don't mean monkeys like a reference to African Americans. I'm just saying monkeys is,
What'd you say? What'd you say, Mark Sterling?
The monkeys. You know, it's the you're the as opposed to owning the monkey show. And so it's kind of like that. Right. I mean, Dre, the detox is Jay-Z's brand is kind of still tied to, he's still cutting deals as a rapper, Dr. Dre's not. And so this is almost like, yeah. So it may come out, but it doesn't have to come out. It has nothing to do with his brand anymore. Whereas Jay-Z's kind of does. So that's a good segue into what the hell's going on with Jay-Z's brand now.
Jay-Z and Beyonce went to the Met Gala in New York. I don't even know what that is, but it's
a big swanky soiree that's getting a lot of traction over the last couple of years. It's almost like a masquerade ball / hey, look at me, I got some crazy outfit on kind of party.
So Solange, Beyonce's little sister, is there too. Mm-hmm. And from what I read, she got pretty drunk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hadn't read that.
Is what I've been reading. Is she was pretty drunk. Why she went in on Jay-Z like that, I don't think we'll ever really know for sure, because obviously there was no audio to that tape, and I don't think anybody's going to ever say what exactly happened. Everybody's saying, well, Jay-Z said he was going to Rihanna's after party and Beyonce wasn't going. People were saying that Solange went after Jay-Z because Jay-Z supposedly hit Beyonce. I find that hard to believe. But it's just amazing, like on social media, how people just, it's just so easy to be hateful. It's just, being positive is hard. That's why it feels good, because it's a great feeling when you stay positive about things. But when you're stuck in that mud, some of the comments I was reading, she should have hit him some more. She should have got him. But why? Why should she have hit him more? Tell me why. Right. Because he hit Beyonce. Well, how do you know that? Where's your proof behind that? It's just, to me, it's frustrating. That's the downside of social media, because to me, they should have a test. You should have a test before you could post anything on social media, because a lot of people really have no right even owning a computer, because I'll just be honest with you, they're stupid. There are a lot of stupid people who own computers in this world. And believe it or not, some of them are actually watching us right now.
That's right.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing, Tony?
Tony's going in today.
So I mean,
you're Solange today, ain't you?
Is this whole thing? Was it a promotional stunt?
No. I don't think so. I think you're onto something, Tony. I mean, we're all speculating. I guess we have the right to do that, and that's probably why you see all these comments on social media anyway. But I think you're onto something in terms of what people were saying. She was a little too turned up at the party. And may have had some kind of altercation with someone at the party, someone important. Now, this again is some speculation I read about, and she kind of got checked down, and maybe that kind of led. I think Jay-Z may have played a role in that, and so then after the fact, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I also read that. I hadn't heard that, Troy. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. I read also that some of Solange's friends showed up, and they were not dressed for the event, and they were trying to get in with no tickets, and they were trying to throw Jay-Z's name around. And Jay-Z told Solange, "You need to check your friends," and that's kind of like how some of it started. But again, it's all speculation. We don't know what happened with that. And then there was a story out that Solange and Jay-Z were at a jewelry store together. The jewelry store owner says, they wasn't at this store. I don't know what y'all saw. There wasn't nobody here, which means that they were at the jewelry store. So, but is this all, does this harm Jay-Z's brand? Because, as a hip hop impresario, he got stolen on by Beyonce's little sister.
Throw out the other rumor, Tony, that the Beyonce Jay-Z marriage is in jeopardy, and that they're really trying to put on the happy couple or the satisfied couple because of the tour that's coming up, that's going to generate $100 million. So they're going to stick it out, until they get done with the tour. Then we'll see what happens from there.
Well, I will say, I'm going to give you my breakdown as it unfolded for me. So you see the video, and I think normal people like us who don't have drama in our life like ever, it's hard for us to even analyze that because it was so unreal, that you just go, I don't understand. So for me, I imagine because we don't have this kind of drama. Initially, again, I'm like, ooh, this is not good. I was like, from a standpoint of for her to go from 0 to 1 billion and was problematic. Number two, Beyonce's reaction was problematic because if you are problematic, thank you, as my vocabulary is also problematic. Because if it's a normal situation and that happens, then you're like, whoa, hey, what's going on? Beyonce just stood there. So that even meant that she was used to this happening.
She looked like she had a bag of nuts.
Right. Sunflowers are delicious.
That was later.
Huh?
That was interesting though that she did not react or do anything
until much later.
And even that the reactions weren't normal. And then, like again, from my analysis, Jay-Z was so cool. That wasn't normal either. I was like, wow, he is cool as a cucumber. And a flag pops up like, ooh, that's not good either because, a normal person would be like, hey, he wasn't. He was just like.
Well, but he had his bodyguard with him.
And
would it have been different if no one was there to hold her back? What would he have done?
I don't know. Well, we'll never know, but he's pretty confident in that bodyguard who allowed him to get kicked in the nuts. maybe that was a mistake. He was like, what the hell's going on? I got a bodyguard. I got kicked. I got spit in the face, kicked in the nuts, and slapped. I got a bodyguard.
That was his last day.
Man.
Here's how you get fired.
And so I just felt like, but then in this new world of social media, I'm like, wow, this is brilliant. They're not saying anything. Like you said, Tony, I don't think they'll say anything because they got right. You got the benefit of everybody's talking about it. Now, going on tour for normal people, it seems like that would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, y'all. Like, how do we get around that? But then again, go to the concert and find out. Sadly, I do feel like there's a problem. I think there's a big problem. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was the beginning of the end of the marriage.
Mm.
Yeah.
Really?
And then on the flip side, I wouldn't be surprised if it stayed together. But there's something is up, is I guess that's my feeling. Something's up.
So this was the beginning of the end then? This
aside from if Solange is crazy, Solange could be crazy, but the thing that shocks me the most is how women jump to the side of men. Like women are quick to call her crazy and defend Jay-Z, which is interesting. I think men are almost like, what's going on? What's going on, dude?
But then a lot of people say Jay-Z should be applauded because he didn't put his hands on Solange because he could have easily snapped her neck or had his bodyguard do it, and that'd been the end of that. But he didn't, and people want to applaud him for that. But you don't applaud people. You don't applaud a man for not hitting a woman.
To do.
Yeah,
yeah. See that goes back to good men, good faithful men who take care of their children. They don't get no shine because that's what they're supposed to do. So the men who don't do anything, those are the ones. They get all the shine and that's why everybody says all men are dogs.
And I think you're onto something, Tony. But when people, you're right. How do people react to this? You see three people who obviously are all successful. All well, at least two of them.
Oh, that's cold.
Iconic right now. The hot in couple, one of the hot in couples right now. And they're having the kind of drama that some people see on a regular basis. And it's almost like the reality TV thing that we've talked about before. When people see that kind of ratchetness, even in that brief moment, it almost justifies the actions that they do on a regular basis. See, well, I know if they turn it up like that in the elevator, I can do the same thing too. Well, no, you can't. No, you can't.
No, you can't. You'll get charged with disorderly conduct.
Exactly.
They can buy the building. You can't.
And you know what? It's funny. It's funny. If that situation for an average person would have gone down, you're right, Tony. Somebody's going to jail. Instead, in this situation, people are looking at the hotel and saying they're liable because
they let
the tape got out.
How did it get out though? That is interesting.
Well, I mean, it had to be somebody who worked there. Yeah. But you know, the standard hotel in New York is supposed to be a very artist-friendly hotel, so they probably have to deal with what we would call security concerns on a regular basis. You know, somebody wiling out in a hotel room or tearing it up. Who knows what happens? We don't know because it's always on the low.
I tell you what, I think if and this is negative. I hate to be negative, but if in fact I think Jay-Z and Beyonce did go their separate ways, I think Jay-Z's brand is hurt the most out of all this.
Why so?
Because the insinuation that he was cheating or that he was in fact a beater, or for whatever reason the marriage did not work out, probably because of him. And that's probably why, you know, her sister went off and she was, you know, she did not step in because she was afraid, or, you know, she was angry at him also. I think he takes the huge hit on this, and if they go their separate ways. And the reality is, I mean, you know, because Jay-Z is, you know, older, it's not like he's, you know, his rap thing is pretty much over, you know, as far as, you know, the rapping thing is kind of tied into everything. That's what makes it so, you know, interesting. The kids aren't like, yo, I can't wait for Jay-Z's next album, but his brand is almost this super successful, super, you know, he's like the king, you know. And so if she's out of the picture, I think his brand takes the biggest hit, you know, because you know, I think Beyonce, on the other hand, though, gets now, you know, she's up from under this male influence. First her father, now Jay-Z. You know, what is she now? You know, who is Beyonce now? That's the whole that will be her next reinvention. Whereas Jay-Z, people don't care. You know, he now, I think he probably just get more and more to the business side. But as far as the pop culture rapper side, I think that's pretty much over. You know, if in fact it's over, you know, their relationship's over.
Wow.
Well, there you go. That's our take on some hot topics that have been going on while we wait for Scandal to come back. We're men on Scandal, but we're men on right now. So thanks for watching. If you have a comment, you can leave it in the comment section down below, or well, that's good. You can just leave it right there, and hopefully you can share this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. That helps everything that way, and you know, we'll see you next time on another Men On. I'm Tony Scott. That's Troy Johnson, and that's Mark Clark.